welcome back. I hope all are good. Today let me start SST chapter number 8, Kings and Kingdom. Here are Kings and Kingdom means राजा और जो उनके राज्य, उसके बारे में आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे. आज हम पढ़ेंगे राजा और उनके राज्य यानी कि Kings and Kingdom. So learning outcomes: origin of Rajputs, foreign invaders, Rajputs in South India, political development in North India, Rajputs in Deccan, case study the Chols. In the 10th century, several Rajput kingdoms also emerged in northern and central India. These included the Chamanas or Chauhans, Paramaras, Bundelas, Solanki, Chandels, etc. In the 11th century, Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India and plundered many towns, cities and temples in the late So in the late 12th century, Muhammad Ghori invaded India and put an end to Hindu rule in the northern India. So these invasions led the foundation of the Sultanate of Delhi and Muslim rule in India. तो जो यहाँ पे पहले शासन हुआ करता था किनका था? 10th सेंचुरी में राजपूत का राज्य था. यहाँ पे चामनास थे, चौहान थे, बुंदेल, सोलंकी, इन सब का राज्य था. तो 11th सेंचुरी में कौन आया? महमूद ऑफ गजनी, है ना, वो भारत में आया. उसने क्या किया? बहुत से गांव, शहर और मंदिर तुड़वा दिए यहाँ पे आके. फिर 12th सेंचुरी में मोहम्मद गौरी आया. उसने भारत में जो है पूरा अपना शासन फैला दिया और यहाँ पे जो हिंदू धर्म है उसको खत्म करने की कोशिश की और धीरे धीरे उसको कम भी किया. ठीक है ना. और फाउंडेशन ऑफ दिल्ली और मुस्लिम रूल इन इंडिया. ठीक है, दिल्ली में और मुस्लिम जो शासन है वो भारत में कैसे पसरा, आइए उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. ऑरिजिन ऑफ राजपूत्स. आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ हर्षवर्धन राजपूत period came into existence. The Tomar, Chauhan, Solanki, Parmanas, Gadavas and Chandelas were main Rajputs who ruled over North India. So the word Rajput comes from the Sanskrit word Rajputra, which means son of a king. Historians have different opinions regarding their origin. Some believe that they were descendants of the Central Asian tribes settled in India. After the Hunas invasion, however, they claim that they were Suryavanshi, that is belonging to the sun. Okay, सूर्यवंशी के लोग किन्हें कहा जाता है? जो सूर्य से बिलोंग करते हैं. फैमिली और चंद्रवंशी, that is belonging to the moon family. तो जो चंद्रवंशी होते हैं belonging with family moon. So some Rajput clans also consider themselves to be part of the fire family, which Agnikula. They believe that they were born out of sacrificial fire. Rajputs in North India. Gahadwalas यानी कि जयचंद was the king of Gahadwalas. The Gahadwalas ruled over the region around Kannauj in 1194 and Muhammad Ghori defeated Gahadwala king Jaychand. The Chandelas, these Rajputs ruled around Bundelkhand. Okay, Kritivarman was the most powerful Chandel ruler. जो कृतिवर्मन था वो सबसे ताकतवर कौन था? चंदेल शासक था. खजुराहो was their capital city. It consists of many temples built by Chandelas. ठीक है. The Tomar, these rulers founded the city of Dilika यानी कि दिल्ली in the 18th century. Later the Chauhans annexed their territories. The Chauhans also known as Chamanas ruled the region around Delhi and Ajmer. So the most powerful Chauhan ruler was Prithviraj Chauhan. He defeated Muhammad Ghori in 1191. However, a year later, Ghori defeated Prithviraj and killed him. Political development in North India. राजनीतिक विकास कैसे हुआ नॉर्थ इंडिया में? The Gujarat Pratiharas. The गुर्जर और प्रतिहार रूल ओवर वेस्टर्न इंडिया. तो गुर्जर और प्रतिहार जो थे उनका शासन कहाँ पर था? वेस्टर्न इंडिया पे. पार्ट्स ऑफ वेस्टर्न एंड सेंट्रल राजस्थान एंड पार्ट्स ऑफ सेंट्रल इंडिया यानी कि नागभट्टा वन. India, Nagbhatta I was the most powerful ruler of the Pratihara dynasty. He expanded the empire. Vatsraj and Bhoja were the other rulers. Raja Bhoj established the largest empire in northern India. Kannauj was the capital of his empire. Raja Bhoj issued silver coins. So these coins had to the mark of Varaha and incarnation of Vishnu. So he was also called Adi Varaha. Raja Bhoj was succeeded by his son Mahendra Pal. The Solankis were also known as the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Siddharaj was the most powerful ruler. The Dilwara temples at Mount Abu and the Sun temple at Modhera were built by the Solanki rulers. The Paramaras. Bhoj Paramara was a powerful ruler. His capital was Dhar. So the Nilkanteshwara temple at Udaipur was built by Paramaras. Tripartite struggle for Kannauj. Kannauj was once the capital of Harsha. It was very rich and fertile land. To capture it means the control of the Ganga Valley. इसको कैप्चर करना मतलब गंगा घाटी को कंट्रोल करना. There was a struggle among the three power, the Palas, Pratihara and Rashtrakutas for the control of Kannauj for about a century from 780 to 910 AD with several rises and falls. First of all, there was a clash between the Pratihara ruler Vesaraja and the Pala ruler Dharampal over the control of Kannauj. So the Pal ruler was defeated, but at the stage the Rashtrakuta ruler Dhruva attacked the Pratihara territory. So the Pratihara ruler had to rush to Rajputana, and then when Dhruva returned to the Deccan, Dharampal recovered his territories and even captured Kannauj. Similarly, the attempt of the next Pratihara ruler Nagabhatta to capture Kannauj was also foiled by the intervention of the next Rashtrakuta ruler Gobind Khan. So thus Dharampal and his son Devpala continued to rule over Kannauj, but Devpala's successor proved quite incompetent. So the Pratihara rulers Bhoj and Mahendrapal defeated the Pal rulers and recovered much of their territories from the Rashtrakuta rulers. So they also took control of Kannauj, thus ended the 100 years of struggle among the three powers for the control of Kannauj. In these mutual quarrels and continuous wars, these three powers exhausted their resources so much that their power declined rapidly, and within 100 years, all the three kingdoms declined and decayed. So new powers rose in their place. The Rashtrakuta Empire was captured by the last Chalukyas. The Palans of Bengal were overthrown by the Siras, and the Pratihara Empire disintegrated into small, insignificant states. Foreign invaders. अब foreign invaders कौन-कौन थे? The Turk were a tribe from Central Asia. They, along with the Afghans, came into India through the passes in the mountains of the northwest. The Ghazni with Mahmud of Ghazni. Mahmud was the ruler of Ghazni. He was the first Turkish invader to invade India. During the course of 25 years, he carried out 17 raids on India. So the 16th and the most important invasion of Mahmud was his attack in AD 1025 on the Somnath temple in Kathiawar. Mahmud had 80,000 soldiers to attack the most sacred and the richest temple of the Hindus. 80,000 सैनिकों को लेके उसने वो किया. The Hindu fought desperately, but they could not save it. 5,000 of their soldiers were killed. Mahmud again took away hundreds of mounts of gold, silver and costly jewels. It was his biggest plunder. So the Caliph honored him for his loot. सब लूट के ले गए थे ये मुगल और अंग्रेज. Muhammad Ghori. Towards the end of the 12th century, Muhammad Ghori, ruler of a small kingdom in Afghanistan, attacked India. In AD 1191, Ghori attacked Prithviraj Chauhan, the Rajput ruler of Delhi and Ajmer. At that time, Prithviraj was the bravest ruler in North India. He defeated Ghori in the first battle of Tarain. Ghori escaped while many of his soldiers were killed. But Ghori did not lose heart. He came again with a larger army and defeated Prithviraj in the second battle of Tarain in 1192. A little later, he defeated Jaichand of Kannauj. but this is an admitted fact that the defeat of Prithviraj marked the end of the Rajput rule in northern India. Ghori made Indian territories a province of his empire and appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as his governor. But Ghori's long absence from India caused disorder in his Indian territory, so his own officers became independent and the Khokras in the Punjab rebelled. Ghori rushed back to suppress the Khokar revolt but was slain in AD 1206 by a band of Khokars. Real founder of the Muslim Empire in India. Mahmud of Ghazni is regarded as the real founder of the Muslim Empire in India. He did not feel content with merely defeating the Rajputs and plundering their territories. So he annexed to his own empire whatever he conquered. He made his conquest more permanent. But Mahmud of Ghazni was interested only in the wealth of India and not in founding an empire. Rajputs in Deccan. The Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakuta dynasty was founded by Danti Durga or Danti Varman. The capital of the empire was at Malkhed or Manikhed near modern Solapur in Maharashtra. So they were in constant conflict with the Gurjar Pratiharas. So the Chalukya of Vengi, the Pallavas of Kanchi and the Pandyas of Madurai. The Rashtrakutas who ruled over Deccan for about 200 years till the end of the 10th century. Okay, so Govinda III, 793 to 814, Amogh, Varsha and Krishna were the greatest rulers. The rock-cut cave, Ellora and Elephanta are the legacy of the Rashtrakuta. Other kingdoms. The Chalukya of Kalyani were also known as later Chalukyas or Western Chalukyas. Vikramanka was the most famous ruler of the Chalukyas. Bhilama founded the kingdom of Yadvas and Devagiri in the 12th century. In the 14th century, so the Khalji rulers annexed their territories. Husains of Dwar Samudra ruled over the region covered by present-day Karnataka. Vishnuvardhan was the most powerful ruler of this dynasty. Later, the kingdom was absorbed into the Delhi Sultanate. Kaktiyas of Warangal ruled in 12th and 13th centuries. In the early 14th century, the kingdom was conquered by the sultans of Delhi. Rajputs in South India. Rajputs in South India were the following: the Palas of Bengal. After the death of Harsha in AD 750, the people elected one Bhupala as their ruler in Bengal. His son Dharampal founded the Pala dynasty 775-810. Under Dharampala and his son Devpala, the Pala kingdom grew to include present-day Bengal, Bihar and parts of Odisha. One of the later Pala kings, Mahipal, was defeated by the Chola king Rajendra Chola in 1023. The Pallavas. The Pallavas had become extremely powerful during the 7th and 8th centuries. They had their capital at Kanchi. They built many beautiful temples out of stone. So the Pallavas were defeated by the Cholas in the 19th century and their rule came to an end. The Pandyas. The Pandyas had established their capital around Madurai and were a force to reckon with. Chola dynasty was a strong empire in South India. The rulers of the dynasty were also known as the Imperial Cholas. So they ruled in South India for nearly 4 centuries. Their capital was Tanjore, now called Tanjore. Vijayalaya founded the Chola dynasty. He built the town of Tanjore and beautiful city of temples. He also built a temple of goddess. Which temple? Nishumbha Asudini. Nishumbha Asudini. Rajaraj Chola. Raja Chola was one of the greatest king. He was also called Rajaraj I. He inherited a small kingdom, but within a few years it developed into a big empire with an organized army and navy. ठीक है, Rajaraj I organized a strong navy, the beautiful temple of Brihadeshwara in Tanjore was constructed by him. Rajendra Chol. After the death of Rajaraja I, his one occupied the throne. He continued with the policy of conquest, commemorate his conquest. He adopted the title of Gangikonda and founded a new capital called Gangaikonda Cholapuram, यानी कि modern Gangaikondapuram in Tiruchirappalli district. The successor of Rajendra Chol continued to fight against the neighboring kingdoms, but the huge expenses on wars affected the Chol treasury adversely. This weakened the Chol Empire. Towards the end of the 13th century, the Chol Empire declined. The traders during the Chol period dominated trade. There were two chief ports, Kaveripatnam and Nagapatnam. Merchants arrived there from Southeast Asia and China. Evidence proves that even Yavanas, Greeks, visited the city in order to trade. Guilds were established. The profits from trade were used for the development of agriculture. Chol carried some trade with China also. Cultural achievements of the Cholas. Temple. The resources and extent of the empire of the Chol dynasty enabled the rulers to build great capitals and temples. These temples were the center of cultural life. They acted as an audience hall and a place for other activities like ceremonial dances performed by the Devadasis. The temple was a miniature city or place with living room for priests. The temples usually enjoyed revenue-free grants and donations from wealthy merchants. The style of temple architecture was known as Dravida, as it was confined to South India. The building of story upon story about the chief deity room called Garbha Griha was the main feature of the Dravid style of temple building. Sculptures. The most distinctive feature of Chola craft was making bronze image. These bronze images of the Cholas are considered among us the finest in the world. So most of the bronze sculptures were of deities. A few sculptures or devotees were also found. Language and literature. Language like Tamil, many regional languages like Tamil, Telugu and Kannada developed during this period. An important literary achievement was that famous literary works were translated into these regional languages during this time. So, Chol inscriptions are sources that give us information about their conquest, land, grants, village, government, important posts and officials. So, a large number of inscriptions are found on the walls of the Brihadeshwara temple. मंदिर की दीवारों पे, पोल्स पे ये सब चीजें खुदी हुई हैं आज भी. Chol administration. The Chol had a highly organized administrative structure headed by the king and a council of ministers to aid and advise him in order to protect the country. The Chols maintained a large army comprising cavalry, infantry, elephants and a strong navy. The empire was divided into mandalams or provinces. So each province was further divided into Valandev or district and Nadu or groups of villages. A large town was administered separately and called a tanur. The associations or assemblies were the most important part of Chol administration. So they performed the role of the local self-government of modern times. The Ur and the Sabha were the two important assemblies involved in local self-government in the rural areas. The Ur was like a general assembly of people who were the owners of land in the village. The functions of the Sabha are described in Karnataka's inscriptions. During this period, trade and commerce was at its peak. Chola inscriptions mention about large trading corporations named manigrammars. These manigrammars operated in inland towns as well as the coastal areas. Agriculture. Cholas made new developments in agriculture. They opened up areas for large-scale cultivation. They also leveled land and cleared the forest, chose land and introduced the art of growing two crops in a year. They excelled in the cultivation of rice. Types of land. Chol inscriptions mention several categories of land. Velanavagi, land of known Brahmana peasant properties. Brahma, they are land gifted to Brahmanas. Okay. Shalabhoga, land for the maintenance of a school. Devdana, Tirunamattukani, land gifted to temples. Palichandan, land donated to Jain institutions. Okay. So these are the medieval period topics. So all our topics are covered here. I hope you all are very well understand this chapter. So we will meet you the next class. Thank you.